Ryan Goodman and Tanguay podcast is brought to you by FanDuel, the exclusive wagering partner of the CLNS Media Network.
It is time now for the Bob, Ryan, Jeff Goodman, Tanguay along for the Ride Zoom and podcast. Jeff is on assignment, meaning he's on vacation, and good for him.
Yes.
In no ways. This episode of the Ryan Goodman, Tanguay along for the Ride podcast is brought to you by FanDuel, the exclusive wagering partner of the CLNS Media Network. Right now, new customers get a no-sweat first bet of up to $1,000. So check it out. All right, let's get to it. We're going to continue with the Marcus Smart situation because he spoke to the media. So what we're going to do is, while we all know that Bob was a Marcus Smart fan, but he realized something had to give, we're going to hear from Marcus and then make some comments on that. First piece of the interview we'll hear from Marcus off the top was that he was shocked that he was dealt. He found out via Twitter because he had been sleeping, and he had been told that there were no trade talks, that he was good. Let's listen to Marcus here.
It was a shock for sure. I think for me, I was actually asleep, and my agent called my fiance. She woke me up out of a sleep, like literally about, I think like, it was right after the deal had been made, and I think Shams had already tweeted it out. And that's how we found out. And then, I went to the gym the next day, got my stuff. And then I talked to Brad and Joe and a couple other guys that was there at the gym. But it was definitely shocking to find out that way, especially because the week before I was already told that we were good, and, there was no trade talks with me, and I was good. So, we was expecting that. But for me, I understand the business side of it. And I've always been like that, and anybody knows me knows that, I'm the first one to tell people you can't put personal with business. It just doesn't mix. And if you do, you're going to get yourself hurt. So,
Bob, it seems to me that at the time, the Celtics thought that Marcus wasn't going anywhere. But as we know, another deal fell through, and that put him back on the market. Did they make a mistake by making that promise?
Well, the promise, yeah, it's always a mistake if you promise something like that, and for any team in any sport at any time, and then break the promise. That's not good business. Because if for no other reason, the word gets around, your reputation around the league is suddenly altered to a degree. And Brad was like clean as anybody could be, in terms of his image and his dignity, his morality, his ethics, all that. And I mean, it doesn't mean he was automatically become a bad person, but this was a tactical error.
And there's also two sides to every story as well.
Yeah, that's right.
To be fair to Brad, I mean, we know that Brad Stevens is not ingenuine. I mean, he's not a liar. He doesn't lie to people. We know that. So, it very well could have been a misinterpretation where Brad may have said, you're good for now, or right now, everything looks good. And Marcus took it one way. But regardless, Bob, of what happened, Marcus was going to be hurt no matter what. I mean, no matter what.
Well, he's the longest tenured Celtic. He spent he spent 9 years here, more, believe it or not. And and he associated himself with the Celtics. I think he plugged into the mystique. I think he would have been as proud as anybody on this roster to have been a part of an 18th banner. I don't think there's any question about that. And that's an unfortunate part of losing Marcus Smart. There's no question. I'm thinking, I just running through my head once again as you were talking about how the trade with the involving Brogdon fell through due to the injury, and I'm wondering, was how quickly the Smart thing materialized, or did it materialize? Was there a plan B? Was he a plan B all along, or suddenly? Because if not, wow, that's a quick decision, isn't it? If not, and you wonder. I mean, I'm just throwing it out there. I just wonder. I never
have to think. I mean, let's Brad Stevens, and we're gonna, we'll throughout the summer we'll be talking about Brad's moves, and obviously Brad is not standing pat because we'll get to Grant Williams in a minute. I mean, Brad Stevens is a nice guy, great guy. You want to have a beer with on your back porch, and I do believe he is not disingenuous, but he will trade you. He will change things up. He will say, we are not standing pat, and that's what he's done. With the Celtic team. So I have to believe, Bob, that Brad has run through every scenario with the exception of trading Jason Tatum, and maybe even then, because Belichick used to do it. Belichick, in his heyday, when he was on top of his game, he knew where everybody was going. He had all kinds of scenarios. I mean, don't you believe, isn't it Brad Stevens' job to have value on a board for every player and possibilities of how he could make his team better?
Well, if that's the case, he learned at the foot of the master, because we know Danny, I used to say, was the most fearless general manager in the league.
Right.
And the stuff that he did, and including bringing back Antoine Walker at the time, was shocking to no one saw that coming. And so, yeah, valid point. So I think he studied, he studied at Danny's feet, and so no, you're right. Okay, all right. I just still think, wow, I had to be. So I'm gonna have to say.
I think another thing, to support your fandom of Marcus Smart, I think other teams probably asked about him. I mean, while I was frustrated with him at times, Jeff Goodman was frustrated with him at times. I think there are probably a lot of other teams that liked him, and for his leadership and his passion, and for all the reasons you love him.
Yeah,
people will probably be asking about him.
Yeah, I could see that. I can see teams wanting, once again, everybody would recognize his inconsistent shooting and his flaws, but the positives, I will always say, are unavailable anywhere else. There is no 6'5" guy that is Marcus Smart. I'm sorry, there isn't. And so it's a plus minus thing maybe. And there you go. I wish, I will always wish that they could have won a championship with him playing the way he played from the middle of January 2022 to right up to game 5 of the finals last year. That he acted as a point guard, and he seemed to hone in, his tamp down his impetuous 3-point shooting, and he acted like a true point guard. Right. And we talked about it, and I would love to have that team, wish that team could have won with it. But this year, that didn't quite materialize. And now they're still without a true point guard, unless you're going to call Pritchard one. And he's a shooting guard who happens to be 6 feet, 2 or whatever he is. So
well, if you have Tatum, and Brogdon's healthy.
Yeah. Well, and White. Well, he can be. I mean, it's close enough, I guess. It's the closest they got. Those two are as close as they got. And it could be enough, because you do have Tatum, who can see the floor, who at his best, is a more, not just a scorer. And it's possible he could be, a Boston's version of what Durant is, frankly. And
you also have Derek White.
We got White. So I mean, okay. I mean, I'm just saying I'll live with this. And right now, I mean, if White playing, the best we've seen of White is very good. It's damn good. Right. And now, plus we know the defense, and there's no reason to get off the Brogdon bandwagon. He was hurt, damn it, and that was an underplayed thing in the finals, and in the conference finals.
Sure.
And he was hurt, and I hope he recovers. Now I'm still a little concerned how the depth of extent of the injury, since they're not talking about it much at all, and for it to be enough to scared the Clippers away from obviously thinking, well, we're worried that he won't recover, or else they would have made the trade, right?
Yeah,
so
that's a problem.
I don't know, and this is a loose end, Gar. This is a loose end for me in this summer.
Yeah, no, you're right about that, and we've heard some rumblings from Causeway that he's going to be fine. That it's an overreaction by the Clippers. It was I've heard some rumblings. It's an overreaction. He'll be fine. We'll see. I don't know. It's a fine point. There's one more thing I want to touch on with Marcus that I want to give him credit for, because Lord knows I was critical of his game, with the exception of the period you talked about, where he was fabulous. Yeah. Let's hear from Marcus on his special bond with the city.
That seems like a collective kind of depression. People trying to get over what happened.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up here, 9 years here, in the city. I've done stuff in the city, to become more acquirable to the city for myself. And, I just built a special bond with the fans and the people of Boston. I don't think there's no place in Boston that I can go where, I wouldn't be welcome. And that speaks volumes. It's definitely tough. I'm hearing it all the time from everybody, the fans. Every time I see them, they're devastated. The city is devastated. And, you know, I understand why. We grew up together, you know, so it's definitely tough. It's definitely hard to say goodbye. I know talking to some of these fans, I definitely get emotional. You know, they're coming up to me and they're bawling. So I definitely have heard, you know, everybody's disappointed. But like I said, you know, it's a business first. Boston will always be in my heart. I love Boston. But, you know, they decided that they made a move what they thought was best for the team, and that's all you can ask for.
Look, you and I have been around here a long time, and Boston is a tough place to play. And what I do appreciate about Marcus, and I wish other players felt the same way, is he loved playing here, Bob. It's a rarity. It's a rarity now. I mean, he loved playing here. Some guys don't like it. Some guys don't like the pressure. Some guys don't like the sports radio. Some guys don't like the media. They don't like the culture. He loved it.
Bert, look, it's always encouraging to me to hear a person of color say something good about Boston, an athlete, because the bad thing is still hanging out there as recently as a couple of years ago with
Right.
you know, the Adam Jones thing, and you know, there are still. I suspect there are people with clauses in their contract that have Boston as a no trade place. You know, we know that has happened in the past. Wouldn't shock me if there's still a few of those things hanging around. So it's good to hear a person of color praise Boston, to say I loved the environment. I like it. I was happy living here when the game was over. That's the implication we get from him too, right?
He was great. I mean, I saw Marcus at community events. Marcus was a great ambassador for the Celtics. It's really, he just took too many threes late in the game, you know, for me, but he was great for the team. I mean, you know, I mean, it's hard. You know, some players, they listen to the sports radio. This is a tough town still. And with social media, some guys come in here, they have a bad game, they get clobbered, you know. Marcus had his critics, obviously.
Oh, the nature of his game is going to produce critics, obviously.
Yeah, but, you know, he handled it. And that's one thing I will always appreciate Marcus is he said, I loved being here. And I think that that's fantastic.
Now, the big thing, of course, is he's going to have to change his hair color. And, you know.
Oh, I know. That's right. Anyway, he just moved into a new house. Poor guy. Doesn't that always happen with guys? They move into a new house and they get traded.
That's why I know that is such an age-old saga in sports. It's true. Yes. So, well, anyway, I hope he deserves to be finally remembered. And when he returns next year, I hope there's a tremendous standing ovation and maybe even a video tribute. And the highlight for me will be the intercepted alley-oop intended for Giannis. Right. That is my favorite Marcus play of all time, and is that play. And so anyway,
he'll get a standing ovation. There's no doubt. How do you think he's going to be as far as being a mentor to Ja? And does Ja need a mentor?
Interesting. That's a very good subplot, and it's a very good adjunct for Memphis that he might be able to you know, help out in that regard. You know, it's not fair to ask him to make that part of his job description, but my guess is that he's savvy enough to assume it. So we'll see.
I think that at the end of the day, I mean, Ja is still the guy. I mean, Ja is still going to be the man.
Talent.
I mean, he's really talented. But what Marcus Smart can teach other players is why they should love the game and be grateful for what they have. You know, and I guess it's easy for me to say that, but he loves to play. He appreciates what he has. And I think that will be good for the Grizzlies. Take your first swing at betting MLB on FanDuel and get 10 times. It's 10 times your first bet amount of bonus bets and up to $200. Just bet $20 and you'll land $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. That's $200 you can spend betting everything from the money line to the over-under to who you think is going to be, well, hitting the first home run. All in the app that's safe, secure, it's super easy to use. Plus, when you win, you get paid instantly. There's no better place to bet on MLB than FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So sign up today and visit FanDuel.com/Boston and get up to $200 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com/Boston. FanDuel, official partner of Major League Baseball. Moving on from Marcus.
Yes.
The Grant Williams situation. Yeah, good for him. I mean, it's a sign and trade with Dallas. 3-team deal in the Spurs. The Celtics get a $6.2 million trade exception. Williams gets a 4-year deal at $53 million, which I think for him Dude, take that money and run.
I totally agree. Look, I'm not upset or anything. I'm happy for him. And he was squeezed out of the rotation last year. What's going to happen now with Porzingis? And we don't know what else they might do. So, but still, because he saw that, he knows that. Just he's going to have a long NBA career as long as he really wants it as an auxiliary player.
Right.
He may very well someday be part of a rotation of a championship team. I can envision that. He could have been one here. He's got a value. And God knows he's a terrific guy. And
he's a great guy.
So, I used to kid, this all year that the Celtics leading the league in future politicians. And of course we're down one now. We're down to two. And
right.
I'm counting Brown in on that, by the way. And I don't think Al really wants to get involved in it, but he could if he wanted to. But certainly Brogdon, his future outside of it. Neither Brogdon nor Williams is going to have a future outside of basketball by choice when they're done. I think you'll see.
Oh yeah, they'll both do better.
They're going to do something else. They won't be coaching. They won't be a vagabond coach in the NBA.
No.
Neither one of those guys at all. And I don't know about Brown either. So anyway, it was nice to have around. I always and it is useful. That exception might come in handy. And
sure.
I'm happy for him. I said that to people right away.
I mean, Bob, you just said it. Auxiliary player, $53 million guaranteed. Auxiliary player.
Right. Now we have now lost the two guys with grit. That's the thing.
Right. So is that overrated?
We lost a tough guy and a phony tough guy because Grant with the body, he'll take charges and he mouthed off with people, but he was reminding me more of Bert Lahr, the Cowardly Lion. Put him up,
yeah.
kind of thing. So, but he did sacrifice the body at times. He was,
right.
And as of course we know, Smart did.
Smart was a real tough guy.
Absolutely.
Don't get in a scrap with Smart. No. Don't get in a scrap. No. He's the real.
But we don't have any player with an edge.
Is that overrated?
What?
Is that overrated?
It's something that's really good to have if you can find it. I'll put it that way. Can you live without it if teams won? Of course they can. But we'll never know. For example, we'll never know the incalculable value of. We're going to get to him in a minute. Draymond Green, what he's meant to that team, and
sure.
what he means to that team, and we'll continue now because he has been re-signed. But we'll never know if he was something. What makes him is the same. The things kind of in a sense stuff that makes Marcus, and take away the edge, and they're not they never would have had the careers that they've had. Anyway, is it overrated? Good question. It's not absolutely necessary, but it's damn nice to have.
Right.
And I love
Boston. We love it.
So out there, I'd love to. We go all the way back to Red with Bob Harris, Bob Branham, and Jungle Jim. Honest to God, I actually was witness to a game in Philadelphia when I was when Red sent Jim going to straighten out the situation when they were picking on Cousy, and they sent Jungle Jim in to restore some law and order to that game. But anyway, this is a long history in Boston. That goes way back 70 years now. But anyway, it's nice to. What I'm about to say is. I'd love to find who's the next PJ Tucker and bring him in here. He's like the standard of that right now.
Right, a lot of people.
And Draymond too, because he's getting older too. Tucker's been around.
Yeah, so,
I don't know who the young Tucker or Draymond is.
But the thing with Draymond though is that I think Draymond is a talented basketball player as well.
Oh, he is. Sure. He can pass. Oh my God. No, he's a wonderful player.
But that's the thing is we look at I think Draymond's a better player than PJ Tucker.
Oh yeah.
Right. So when we talk about
there's no question of PJ's one value on offense is stand in that corner, make the three. Draymond brings much more to the table than that offensively. Right. No question. So there's no one. Oh no, Draymond. People are going to be talking about Draymond down the road. You're one of those. Is he a Hall of Famer? Well, I'm just saying. Of course, I'd say no. But I will see why you would. It wouldn't be a stupid thing to try to put it all together and say that he brought something to the table that was special. And then the Warriors agree and are re-signing him at 33 or 4 now to.
Is that a good move for them? What do you think? The Warriors done, because some people think they've missed the window.
Yeah, well, a lot of people do, and I say, with all due respect to Denver, and they're a worthy champion and all that, I'm not dismissing the Warriors yet. That they don't have a 69 Celtics chance. You know, right. That's what I said about them this year, and I'm going to say it about them next year before the season even starts. And if you don't know what that is, folks, go look it up. No, the 69 Celtics, who finished 48-34. They were 4th in the division. They were coming off a championship. Russell was supposed to be, Russell was declining. At 36 rebounds opening night. Let people know he was still alive, by the way, that year. And and they had no home court in the playoffs, and they wound up winning the championship. Watch out! I'm not giving up on Curry, Klay Thompson, and Steph and
plus they made an off-season move, and they might little change of scenery, and it might help them out.
Yeah, big one. We'll see what Chris Paul's got left, but it's just they're clearly they're saying to the world, we're still here. We think we're still here.
Okay, a couple other moves here. The Fred VanVleet, he ends up in Houston. What a great story by him. I mean, what a great story for him to come out of nowhere and have an NBA career. And so I want to dovetail. What's that?
When he came out, people thought, well, he might be a roster guy.
Right. Oh, yeah.
He might be the 9th and 10th guy. And he's made himself into a special player who, by the way, just got a contract for 3 years, $130 million. And now, so it goes to a crappy team, but it's not quite as crappy now that he's there. And they're in the tank mode. They're in that Presti mode, I call it. So we'll see how that works out.
Does Jaylen Brown fit with it?
This is the stuff. Well, they're more enticing with Fred VanVleet on the team than they were the 24 hours prior. I'll just put it that way to any prospective other free agent or person who'd like to relocate. They've acquired a little vein of respectability now with Fred VanVleet. So, but the thing is, not so much what's happened with the transfers, shall we say, as much as the re-signings. Because Bradley Beal go to Phoenix is so far the big
right.
And the one we're all waiting for the big shoe to drop is Lillard. What's going to happen finally? He absolutely doesn't want to play in Portland any longer. He's made that emphatically clear. And but he
wants to go to Miami. Does he? I'm going to stop you real quick because I just saw this question.
Yeah.
Because I know you want to cover the other things. If Lillard goes to Miami, and it's maybe crazy, does he disrupt that chemistry?
I think their culture reins him in to a degree. I think.
Okay. Yeah. Wade.
Really
okay.
do.
No.
I don't think he's
Butler.
We're not talking Westbrook. We're not talking. We're just. It's a different personality. I think he would go there with hoping to plug into the.
Well, I'll tell you. I mean, if he goes there, man, and
what do they got though to give that won't diminish?
Oh,
them?
yeah. Well, no, I know. It's
going to take more than Tyler Hero, but at least Tyler Hero. Yeah.
Yeah. What do they got? I mean, he would have to hold out that type of thing. But if they were able to somehow scrape this whole deal together, and you're right, that's the situation where you take a guy like him, and you, it's his chance for a ring. He buys in. They have we all know that's a tough team that loves to. I mean, if you're not a basketball fan if you don't like the Miami Heat. I mean, even
they do things the right way.
Yeah, and you bring in a star that buys in, that's a threat.
Oh no, that would be an eye opener, but at what cost? But obviously, if in a world that doesn't exist, if you could trade Tyler Hero for Damian Lillard, you do that in a heartpeat. But
that's not good. Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
It's going to take a lot more than that.
Right. So, what are some of the other deals? What are you looking at?
I mean, I'm a regional vice president of the Domantas Sabonis fan club.
Yes, you are.
And so we are all applauding here. We Sabonis guys that Sacramento has rewarded him with 5 years and $217. And Sacramento, I was on their case in their playoffs. I like their young nucleus. It is young. They're a team on the move. They got something nice going. I won't say special, but they got something nice going. They've got De'Aaron Fox. They got Monk. They got Harrison Barnes, who's having a good career now. Kevin Huerter. They need a little more seasoning. They couldn't get by the Warriors, but I think they're going to be a real major threat next year for the West. The other, I'm just going on a list of teams that are saying, "Hey, we're selling up our guys." LaMelo Ball, just 5 years, 207 in Charlotte. Of course, the brothers' career. Isn't that sad? Lonzo might be done.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so sad. Because whatever we ever thought of the father was crazy. The kids were floated above it in public. They were great.
They did. They really did.
I imagine they floated above it in private. I always used to say I can imagine Lonzo coming into practice one day or LaMelo and say, "Oh, Dad went off again. Oh, don't worry about it.
Right.
We don't listen to him. We let him talk. Okay. One of the great stories I think of its type that speaks to modern basketball as much as any individual has spoken to modern basketball, the evolution of the NBA, the hostile takeover of the three, the realization for big men that they can't go back and be George Mikan in 2023, right? Brook Lopez. I urge people listening to this podcast, go Google Brook Lopez, go look, you can find him easy, and look up the beginning of his career arc and his stats. Look up his career. Look up how he literally did not take a 3 or 2 or maybe a half a dozen in the first X years of his career. And they were at the end of the period, right? Or the 24-second.
Oh, sure.
Okay. And look at what he's become by work, by reinventing himself into a major 3-point threat to go along with the fact that he's an all defensive kind of player. He's got one of the most underrated careers and players in this league right now. That's what he's accomplished. And by the way, the brother is joining him in Milwaukee again next year. Is going.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Robbins just signed on with the Bucks too. So anyway, Brook Lopez, 2 years at 48, re-signing. Here's a good one. Anthony Edwards, just yesterday. The number 1 draft pick in 2020. He's got 5 years, 207 max. Desmond Bale in Memphis. That kid is good, by the way. 5 years, 207. Tyrese Halliburton, same thing in Indiana. Okay, now the Lakers. Austin Reeves, a year ago at this time, be honest, yes or no, did you know he existed on this earth?
No.
I forgot. I'd say no. I'd say I totally forgot in this college career. Austin Reeves just cashed in 4 years, 56. And D'Angelo Russell got 2 years, 32. They got him. But of course, it's no shock that Kyrie didn't go anywhere.
Yeah, whatever.
Who wants him? But he got 3 and 126 re-up. Draymond got 100 million. Okay, that's about the big ones. If I forget anything else.
Okay,
Westbrook's not going anywhere. They can have him.
What about Holmgren? What'd you think? Summer league,
there's been a Chet Holmgren sighting, ladies and gentlemen, and it was pretty positive the first night. I don't know. I think he played last night too, but I was hoping they'd be the game on TV, but they weren't. I would have watched. Honest to God, I was. Oh,
everybody wants to
my knife about watching. Instead, I watched the Red Sox, but I would have watched Chet Holmgren. Chet Holmgren, he's 7 feet tall. He weighs about 72 pounds. He's the skinniest guy to come in. He's even skinnier than Wembanyama, by the way.
I know.
And you wonder how that body's going to work. But he can handle. He brought the ball up. He distributed the ball. He did the things. He opened some eyes. And I'm really curious and very curious to see the Thunder. With what he's going to do for them. But just to be aware, he's back. And if you get a chance, and I'm going to try and see if they're ever on. Believe me, I have in the past, Gary. I have not only not watched summer basketball, I have disdained it. I was just slammed it.
Oh yeah, it's been a waste. It's a waste of time. But
suddenly this year, you think Friday night Wembanyama they're going to be on, right? I believe.
I would think so. I don't know, but at the end of the day,
everybody was disappointed because he didn't play against the Lakers on Wednesday night. He didn't play, and but apparently he's going to play. If he's going to play on Friday night,
NBA TV will have that.
The 7th of July. Suddenly I will be paying attention. I think so. We'll see. Anyway, Chet Holmgren, don't forget about him, and it's going to be interesting because it's just the body is just so fragile looking. You just
I know. To eat a steak. As we wrap it up, Bob,
I want to end on a Celtics note. With everything we've talked about, with the Celtics' new look that we've dissected here now, and finally put the Marcus Smart thing to bed with him talking to the media. Is this a wake-up call for this team? Has Brad Stevens sent a message to Tatum, to Brown, to the coaching staff? Guys, I am not standing pat. No one is safe.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point. And I just, no, I agree. And I just hope everything I've learned, I feel like I've been, I've gone to one of those, Chinese re-education camps or something. Everything I've learned about the last couple of years of Porzingis, which contradicts my vision of him in New York and, when he first went to Dallas. I just hope Joe uses him right. Because I read another story this week, talking about how effective he was in the post and the mid-range game. Now, so if you got, I just want to bounce. Fine if he can make a three, that's great. But but no 7-3 guys should be living on threes. No, that should be a part. If you got a part of the deal, terrific. But it shouldn't be the whole deal.
No, it's no. I agreed, and I don't think it's gonna be. I mean, maybe it is, but I just, Brad Stevens to me is, like I said, have a beer with him, have him over for a cookout. He's your neighbor. He's a great guy. I mean, I've sat and watched. Our kids were about the same age. This is when he first got here, and they were playing youth basketball. And I never talked Celtics with him. I just, see him at the gym, and he was like another dad.
Oh, he's another guy.
He's just another guy, and he's watching his son playing. And I said, "How's it going?" And he's kind of like, "Well, I don't know. Maybe he can hit and catch a baseball or something, like that. Like, my kid's not going to be in the NBA." But when it comes to doing a team, and I remember Tim Welsh told me this too. When he came into the NBA, Timmy Welsh, former Providence coach, now of ESPN, said, "Don't look past Brad. He's no pushover."
Uh-huh.
And he said that. And we're seeing it now where, even Marcus said, Brad and I had our moments, but it was all love. And Brad, the GM, dude, you better, he's no pushover. And I think we're seeing it. So I think that's good for Celtics fans. That's my final comment.
Let's put it this way. The question has been answered. And the question we had, and it was, maybe I underestimated but the question was, okay, are they going to stand pat, ask these guys to do it over again, only better, with minor tweaks, or are they going to do something to shake it up and go about the business differently? And we've had the answer.
Yeah, they got too comfortable. Good
the answer
move.
is yes, and that's what he's going to do. And now we shall see.
Bob Ryan, gentlemen, always a pleasure, my friend. All right, Bob Ryan, brought to you by FanDuel.